God. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We want to kickstart our training on Microsoft Power BI. And it's going to be a series of training, and we're going to be diving very, very deep into the nitty-gritty of Microsoft Power BI. This is the first of it, and it's open to everyone. It's free. And even despite the fact that it's free, you're going to be learning a lot today. If you are new to Power BI, you're welcome. This is the best place to start from. And if you have some experiences, I mean, if you've already used Power BI in the past, maybe you're coming for a refresher training, or you just want to check us out, thank you very much. You're welcome. Just give us some time to get the new ones up to speed. And at some point, I believe this training will also be very helpful to you, because by the time we start dealing with advanced mashup programming language to extend the transformative capability of Power Query, and also the advanced DAX to extend the analytical capability of data model. So you're going to be seeing all those things in this series of training. And I can assure you that by the end of the training, you all will be able to take on projects in your companies on visualization and etc. And we're also going to be going to the aspect of Power BI server administration, and also Power BI service, Power BI cloud, and some custom visuals. Those are the things that we're going to be touching on a lot. We have a lot to do here, and this is just the beginning. So today we're just going to be working on a very simplistic project. It's a project that is regarding the Nigerian LPG, liquefied gas. So I picked that data from Data Watch. Is a Nigeria organization that provides data like that. So that is where I got that data from. And I'll be sharing. I hope everyone, have you all downloaded the data, please? Yeah, even if you're unable to like follow on, I mean, click per click here today, just pay attention and you can be able to do it on your own later on. So once again, my name is Segun Adewumi. I am the founder and the director of Crystal Travel Limited, an organization that does more of providing corporate trainings to organizations and also to professionals like you and I. And many of our trainings are free. If you check on our YouTube channel, you see some of our trainings there. The last time, maybe so, if you were in my last training, can you signify? If you were part of that 7 days Excel automation training, let me know. I want to see some of my people here. Hello. If you're part of the Excel automation training, are you here? Or you've attended any training at all? Any of our trainings? All right. So these are completely new.
I think I've attended one of your training on Excel.
Okay, on Excel. Is that Olakomi Ojo?
Oluwakotomi Ojo.
Okay, Oluwakotomi Ojo. Yeah. Thank you very much. Interesting. You're welcome. So let's just go straight. Okay, in case you want to know a little bit more about me, these are the links that you can check out on the internet. I'm on LinkedIn. I have some articles on WordPress that might interest you. And Twitter, you can check out more of our videos on YouTube. You can contact me by email and telephone. So, and these are the other services that we provide. So if you want to write business plan about a new project or just an idea, you want to prepare financial models or valuation, you want to move from your on-premise database to cloud, all those kind of things, visualization and accounting services, etc. So we are here to assist you. Now let's start straight away. Let me share my screen this time around. Okay, so have you all opened, do you know how to open a data model like this? Okay, let me just start from there. Let's start from there. Let me close this Power BI like this. Okay. So let me close this one too. So this is my Power BI desktop. This is the logo here, Power BI desktop. So it's very easy to download. Using that link I sent you, just go straight there, download, make sure it matches with the parameter of your computer, and that will be all. So this is a fresh desktop. This that is launching means that it's just showing you some things that I've done in the past, and I can quickly get my data from here, and tutorial about how to use Power BI, some forum you can check out, Power BI blog, what is new, etc. So feel free to interact with that when you open your Power BI. So this one that immediately you open a Power BI, I need to be very fast because it might take a bit of time. Immediately you open a Power BI, it's going to launch you to the Power BI data model. You understand? This is a data model. This is where you write your DAX, and this place is showing is just the report pane. This is the report pane where you will visualize your data. We can say this is like the end results or the outputs. When you click here, this is the data pane. It's not showing any data because we have not loaded anything. And this place also, hello, who is talking? Hello? Let me try to. Okay, so this is where you check your relationship. That is why it's called model. You check relationship between tables. Do we have, because without any relationship, there's no, I mean, the tables will not be able to communicate with each other. For example, now I am loading, a fact table, a dimension table, and also a date table. And eventually I'm trying to analyze something by dates, by months. You realize that there will be no filtering. It will not give me, for instance, I have my total sales for the year. And I want to check total sales on a monthly basis, but without that filtering, it's not going to break it down month by month. So that is why one of the first things you must check, immediately you transform your data and you bring them into data model like this, go and check the relationship, because automatically Power BI will create relationship, but yet you need to go and verify whether it has done it properly or not. Yeah, somebody is asking if there's data set for this. Or you can scroll to the back and, okay, maybe I should just repost it. I have already shared the link to where you can download the data. All right, so in case someone else asks that kind of question, just try to share the link with the person. Now, if you now want to get your data, let me just hide this video. If you want to get data, you can come here. You can see this sign like a database sign. If you click the drop down, it will show you some other means of bringing in your data. You can bring from Excel, from Power BI data set, from a data flow. And this data flow is in Microsoft Azure, from Dataverse, from SQL query. You can bring from different sources, and you can also, it's not limited to these few ones here. You can click more. When you click more like this, it has organized the data sources into different categories. Okay, if you want, this is all, everything. You can see how many, and I mean, Power BI keep adding new ones every now and then. You can even bring in from folder, from PDF, if your table is in PDF, from SharePoint, from SQL database. Maybe I should even show you the SQL. If time permits, I will show you how to bring it from SQL database. So you can see multiple sources from Azure Lake, from Microsoft Dynamics, everything is here. So it is categorized here in case you want to go straight to where it can be found. And also you can decide to search. If you click on all, okay, you can search from here. And in fact, you can bring in from web. You can click here and then connect. So like that, you can type in the URL of that place where you want to bring it from. So there's diverse sources where you can bring in your data. So this is where you can go to the file in case you want to do some more manipulation. You can see save as, and this place that is called option and settings is very important. You can go to options, just like in Excel. Many of us are familiar with this in Excel. There are still many things. Like this is, if you want to do direct query is that you are connecting directly to a data source, like maybe like a server. And you can also do R scripting. That is, instead of doing your transformation, or instead of transforming the data in Power Query, you can go and transform it using R programming language or using Python programming language, and then bring it into the data model directly without going through Power Query. So what do we have here? Okay, these are your quick data source, the recent ones that you've done. And this place is also very important. You can go back to data source, and this is where if you click on this, your transform data, it will launch your Power Query automatically. So let's just reduce this. Now, what shall we do now? We need to go, because we're working with Excel data this time around. You can work with a CSV data, anyone. So you can connect from here too. Connect, import data from Excel, import data from SQL. These are just quick ones. You can come here, the recent data source that you've used. And finally, you can go on and check everything at once. So let's just connect. Okay, let me use the get data. This get data is the same thing as what you have in Excel. So we want to import from Excel workbook. So let me just navigate to where I have it. I click on my desktop for my desktop Excel data, and then gas price watch November 2022 is actually between 2016 to 2022. Now it is bringing, if you were in the last, the training I did on data visualization with Microsoft Excel, you will remember that Power Query will still give you something similar to this. This kind of window is what Power Query will give you. So let me quickly show you the Excel data even before we launch it. So this is the data. As I told you, I got it from the price watch. So this is just like a summary. We have the 5 kg cylinder, 12 kg cylinder, average of November 2021, average of November 2022, like that. But this is where we are much more interested in, this 5 kg. This one gives us the price on a monthly basis from January 2016 to November 2022. You can see that. And it is broken down by states in Nigeria. All the 36 states, including the FCT, are here, and some other additional analysis done by that organization, but we actually don't need this. We do our own analysis by ourselves. This is the cylinder type. It's saying that this is gas in small cylinder of 5 kg. And this data is also the same, but it's only that this is data for 10 kg to 10 kg or 12 kg cylinder. Is a medium size. All right. So that's just the data that we'll be working with. Now, if you just click on this without checking the button, as I can give you an idea of what the data is all about. But because we have a lot of things here, it's not giving us the accurate preview. You understand? So let's just check these two buttons. These are the two we need. And there are two things you can do here. You can either load directly to data model. That place I just showed you. If your data had been properly transformed, well shaping, normalized, you don't need to go through Power Query Editor. Power Query Editor is simply for data transformation. In fact, the programming language used in the query editor is called the M language or the mashup language. It is specifically for data transformation, data shaping, and not for data modeling. Okay? Please pay attention to that. So if you think that there are ways, if you have a very good IT team within your organization and you are a finance person, and you don't necessarily have to go through the stress of data transformation. Most of the things that we would do in Power Query could have been done in your SQL. You would have used SQL or any other programming language like R or Python to carry out that transformation. You would have broken it down, select your data type, and select the number of columns you want to reflect. Everything would have been done by your SQL developer. So they just pass it through to you a clean data. There's no need of going through the query editor again. You just load it directly to what? Load directly to your data model. But in this case, this has not been done. This is like your raw data. We need to go through one or two transformative steps before we can load to query editor. In that case, we are going to say transform data instead of load data. So immediately we click on transform data. It's going to bring up the Power Query editor. This is like a different window from where we were coming from. Okay? It's a completely different window. So you have the home, even though there are similarities here and there, but it's not the same. You have the home ribbon. Under the home ribbon, you can also source for your data. For instance, now as we've opened the Power Query editor, we still want to bring in additional data. You can go here or from recent sources. If you want to create data set yourself, you can enter data. So if you want to change your source, for instance, if by the time I send this file to you, you understand, and it's still going to be referencing my home computer. So you will need to go here to data source. So if I click this data source now, by the time you get this thing, it's not this data is not going to show because it will be referencing my machine and it's going to be returning error for you. So you need to go back to this data source setting and then change data source here. So you can then browse and change it to your own data source of to wherever you've saved it on your computer. All right. So we have managed parameter. These are a few advanced stuffs here. And we're going to be working with append query. This merge query is, for instance, if you have new columns that you want to bring into this data set, you can merge query, but there must be a connection. There must be like, what do you call it now? There must be a key. There must be a primary key that connects those two data sets together. So secondly, the one, for instance, for append query, this is very useful when you bring in monthly data. For example, if you have your monthly ledger that you analyze with Power Query, everything is structured the same way. You are not going to do it in an horizontal format. It's going to be vertical. You want to bring the one of February below that of January and March below that of April. So this is when you're going to use March, the append query. So you can append query by just bringing everything together, and you can append it into a new query entirely. So you still want those old queries to remain there. So here you want to choose column to be removed and column to be left. You can also remove rows. A lot can be done here. If you want to split column, you can split by delimiters, split by special character. And here if you want to promote header. So I'm going to remove that step. And this applied step also is very, very important. You can go to your previous step. You can see that automatically. So I can remove this change data type because I don't want to do that yet. So if you made any mistake during the process, if you make any mistake, you can still remove. You can remove that step. And you can even go to the first step here. This is when we source for the data. immediately Power BI had carried out some automatic transformations here. Power BI had done navigation, promoted header, and all those kind of things. You get? So if you go to the transform data ribbon here, you can decide to group, you can transpose, you will see your replace data, a lot of things, a lot. But we're not going to go through everything here. But when the session, when it starts properly, you're going to see that I'm going to run you through all these things. So let's go back to the home ribbon. Number one thing, let me quickly show you the Excel again. You can see that from row 1 to row 3, we don't actually need it. Because we need it from this column, from where we have the column label. And if you go to the bottom of the data, you will see some other analysis that we don't need. So we have to find a way of removing it from the query editor. And how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Any questions so far, please? Any questions so far?
Sorry to bother you. In downloading the link you sent to us, I have Power BI desktop. I have two. Which one are we downloading there?
You have two there.
Yeah, one is a 455 MB, and then is 414.
What is the name of the file? It's supposed to be
first one is Power BI desktop setup.
Okay, that one is different. That one is to install desktop. To install Power BI on your desktop. That first link is for you to install Power BI on your desktop. The second one is where you're going to download this data that I'm using here. Okay, so have you sent the second one to the WhatsApp group? I didn't send it to the WhatsApp group. I'm sending it to all people that are participating here. Check the chat box and you will see it. All right, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. So for this 12 kg, we want to remove these first 3 rows. Row 1 to 3, we don't actually need it. We don't need everything here. So you just come here, remove row. You can click this arrow. Anytime you see this kind of drop down arrow, it's telling you that there are still more than you are seeing now. You need to click it in order to access more options. So we want to remove top rows. As soon as you click this, it's going to tell you that what is the number of top rows you want to remove. Okay? Then you just say we want to remove 3. And you click OK. Automatically, the first 3 rows had been eliminated. All right? And you can see that it's showing that step here in your applied step. Applied step is showing you step by step what you've done so far. You get? And what you'll be seeing here in this formula bar is the latest step. And also, if you click your advanced editor, this is where you mostly write your M query. So it's telling you that this latest step now is to remove top row. All right. The first step is you are getting it from the source. The second one is that from the source, item, gas, it's changing the data type for that transform column. So everything you are doing step by step is being recorded in M programming language. Even though you are just doing click, drop, drag, and all those things, you are using the UI. Everything we'll be doing till now is UI, or we call it GUI driven, or UI. But as you're doing that, Power BI is transforming it to code, to M code, and recording it here in this your advanced pane. Now, the next thing I want to do is that I want to transform this first row to column head. You can see now that it's showing state label, item label, all those kind, and the dates. So I'm going to just come here. I can do it from here, use first row as header. Alternatively, I can come to my transform ribbon and click use first row as header. There are some other options. Use first row as header, use header as first row if you want to revert that. So let's just click here, and immediately you are seeing it here now. Promote header. Okay. We can then scroll down. We are doing this because this is a very short, we don't have much rows here. Otherwise, we have to use another means. So you can see that from here, from row 38 to row 55, we have no need of it. We want to stop on this, Zamfara. Now, we have to go back to that remove rows. So what is the number of rows here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we come back to our home ribbon and you go again to your remove rows. Remove bottom rows. Okay? And we counted 18. Click OK. Now, when you scroll down, you realize that it's now ending on Zamfara. All right, do you understand that? Hello?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we want to do the same thing to the next table or the next query. So it had automatically been promoted to header. All right, if we scroll down also, we see that same thing. I think this should be like 20 or thereabout. Let me see if it's correct. So remove rows, remove bottom rows, and then 20. So by the time we scroll down, it's on Zamfara. So this one, if you want to use this keep rows, is when, for instance, you want to keep the, let's just try it. If I want to keep only top 5, if I want to keep only top 5, I'll just say keep row, and I'll say top 5, and click OK. So can you see that it's giving me top 5? And this is what will be loaded into the data model for further analysis. But I do not want this, so I'm just going to check this red X button here to remove it. All right, so the next thing we're going to be doing is that we want these two data to be together. We want to append the data the same way I explained it to you the other time. And if you're coming from an SQL programming background, you will understand something that is called append. It's even a function in SQL, and it is used to merge two data sets together. For instance, monthly data or yearly data, but you want to combine them. So you can use that append. And the same thing, I mean, apart from, hello?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, Lolade.
All right.
So sorry. The append, sorry that I'm deviating a bit. The append that you just talked about,
okay,
is it also the same as join in SQL? Maybe you have two tables and you want to join them on
no, it's not the same. It's the same as append in SQL.
Okay,
join in SQL is the same thing as merge. This merge that you're seeing here, up here.
Okay.
Yeah, that is when you can, it's similar to joins. You can maybe outer join, inner join, full outer join, etc. You're going to have similar thing with merge.
What's the difference? Okay, all right.
Okay, ask your question, please.
Okay, I was just going to, but I don't want us to deviate. Don't worry, maybe later.
Okay, you wanted to ask me what is the difference between join and append?
Yes, and
it's very important. Yes, that question is good, but I've spoken about it the other time. That join is, for example, you have two tables and they have a common key. You understand?
Yes, primary
and
key.
You now want to join them together. For instance, you want to bring in some more columns from the other table into this table. For example, you have a table that has information about the region, the state, and everything, but you want everything to be on the same fact table. You get it?
Yeah.
So you can use your join because there's a code that is bringing them together.
Okay.
Or another example I can cite is when you have a different table for product information, maybe your product size, your product type, the number of product, etc. And there's another table for transaction, but there is a column for the key. They call it primary key. So that is what you will use to bring those two tables together. Then you can then bring the columns that you require. But for append table, everything is structured the same way, the same number of column, the same column name. I think you're an accountant.
Okay,
So for instance, you have a ledger that has a date, the
Okay.
description, the
Yeah, I
account to
think
be credited, they want to be debited, and some other explanation like narration. Everything is structured the same way, month in, month out. But you want to keep bringing them together. You want to bring the one of February below the one of January, and like
January.
that for the entire year. So you have to use this append
Append.
query option.
Oh, thank you
All
for
right,
that.
so now we need to append these two query, and we just come here. You can either append, if you just click on this append query, you're going to bring the two together, and you are going to, how do I explain it to you now? The two is just going to be merged together, but you will not have that original data source. You will not be able to have these two as separate. But what I use most of the time is not, there's no right or wrong way this time around, but I like to, keep track of what I'm doing. So I want to leave this gas 12 kg, gas 5 kg. So I'll just click append query as new. So this will give me a third query, an entirely new query. So the first table is 12 kg gas, and the next one is the 5 kg. You can see that now. So concatenate row from two tables into a single table. You can also concatenate 3 or more. So you just do your drag and drop, click here, then add, and all those kind of things. So that is if you have multiple tables that you're bringing in. Click on this, append as new. So the second table is here, 5 kg, and then I click on OK. So automatically I have a new query entirely. And okay, let me just quickly rename this. You can either rename here as what, or let's call this gas price from 2016 to 2022. This is one way to rename a query. You can also come here and click on what? On rename. It's still the same thing. All right. So now to be sure that we've brought in all the queries, you can just check here. You can see now that we are having gas in medium cylinder and gas in small cylinder. All right. So this is to show you that it is working. So the next thing I want to do here, okay, fine. So the next thing I want to do, I want to rename this gas. I think it's just too long. So we can, if you want to see how to rename that, you can either copy this and type it in, or when you click it directly like this, you just come to this, your transform ribbon, and you click on rename. No, it's not that. I made a mistake there. You click on replace. So when you click replace like that, it's already telling you that, okay, you want to replace one value with another in the selection column. So the value is gas in medium cylinder. So we want to replace it with just medium size. Okay. Then you click OK. So everything like that had been replaced. So the next one to replace is this one. Let me uncheck everything and just bring in only this. And then I can replace this and call it small size. So replace, call this one small size. But if there's a specific thing that you want to rename there, or that you want to replace, maybe other items within that particular column is fine, but there's one, probably a null, that you want to change to 0 or something. So instead of clicking on it directly, you can just come to that replace, type in null here, and replace it with 0. It's still the same thing that you will get. Now, this data is not well structured. Hello.
Yes. Thank you. This is Olaolu. Please, for this replace that you just did, do we have something like a quick search, just like we have in Excel, where we can maybe Control F, then change it to replace, and then replace whatever we want to replace without going to the tabs on top?
Yeah. There's nothing like that for now. There's no shortcuts to it. Or okay, there are shortcuts actually. Alt T, then R. But I'm able to do this simply because I know a lot of shortcuts in Excel, and I know for most Microsoft products, Excel, Power BI, etc. When you start with Alt, it will bring you everything like that, and then you can go to your T to bring you to the transform ribbon, and then you click on R for replace, or if you want to click on something else, you can click it. So you just need to start memorizing that, and it might take you time. So I think this one is very simple, but there's no search button that you can use to search for, like we have in Excel, that you can search for a particular function. So the next thing is that we don't like the way this data is structured. It is good for data gathering simply because it's easier for the person gathering this data to separate it on a monthly basis like this for each of the states. But it is not good for analysis. It's not good for data analysis. This is what is called a denormalized data. But we need to normalize it, okay? We need to restructure the data. And all this data that you are seeing here, we want to convert these columns to rows. We want to bring all the columns to rows so that after our state label, we have our item label, then we have our dates, and after our dates, we have the amounts, okay? The gas price. That's exactly what we want to do now. So you're just going to highlight on everything. The way you can do that very quickly, instead of doing one by one like this, just long press on your shift button. Okay, before then, let me just remove this column. It's not doing anything there. So the way you remove column, you can even right click like this, and you will remove that excess column. But I will just do it this way by going back to my home ribbon, and then you can just click on this X directly to remove the column, but you can remove column here also, or you can decide to remove other columns. If you click on remove other columns, only this column will remain, but we want to remove the present column. Fine. Now, I want to show you something. Under your transform ribbon, you have your pivot and unpivot button. Okay. This is your unpivot button. What does unpivot button do? What it does is that it transforms the column into rows. And the next one is pivoting. This is the pivot column. This is where you transform from row into column. This same thing is available in SQL, pivoting and unpivoting. All right. So I'll hold on to my shift key and then come to the last column here. And I click on my pivots. You can see on pivot other column. That is not what we want. If you click on pivot other column, it's going to affect the item name and the state, etc. So we just want this on pivot columns. Voila. Can you see what we have now? Can you see what we have? So you can see that we have each of those months. For 2016 now, we have from January to December. The same thing for 2017. So let me just uncheck it. Let me show you something. In this data set, if you look at your bottom right corner here, you will see that everything is 37 rows. All right? So, but after performing this transformation, you will see the number of rows that we're going to have now. Now we have 999 plus. We have above 1,000 rows here. Why is showing 999 plus is because the Power Query will not show you more than 1,000 rows. If you are bringing in, let's say, 100 million rows of data here, Power Query is not going to show you that. It's going to show you the first 1,000. All right. So now that we've been able to unpivot it, you can see now that instead of having just one habeas state, we have multiple habeas states. So it's easy for us to analyze when data is structured like this. So the next thing you want to do is to rename. Let's rename this to dates, okay? And we rename this as what? Gas price. So this dates, you also need to change the data type. This is where you change the data type. You can see what is showing behind it is showing as text. What this is saying is that this is text. Like this one now, automatically it has changed to text, which is fine. Power BI was correct about that. This one too, text, Power BI was correct, but it wasn't correct here. So it is incumbent on you to go back there and change it to the right one. So when you click, you can then change to, if you want date and time, it's going to show this way, but we don't really need the time. We just want only dates. All right. And for this one too, we want, let's say fixed decimal. Let's show it a fixed decimal. It's already showing in dollars, but no, let's just show it in decimal number. And for Power BI transformation, as far as this data is concerned, we've been able to transform it. And when you hover over this green spot here under each column, it's telling you that no error is found. 100% valid, no error, no empty cell. Had it been there is an error, if there is an error in this data, something black or red will show up to tell you that you still need to do more work here. You will always see the sign that something is not correct. Fine. So this two here, we don't want to load it into data model. For example, let's assume that this one is 100 million rows, 100 million rows, and then we are having 200 million rows. And if you should load everything like that into data model, it's going to affect the performance. Because the size of your data affects the performance of your model. It will slow it down a little bit. So anything you believe that you do not need, don't load it into your data model. For example, these two now, what are we going to use them for? We already have everything mixed together here or appended together here. So we just need to tell Power Query that do not enable load. Automatically enable load had been checked, but it's now our responsibility to tell it that no, don't enable it by unchecking it. So that means that it's not going to be loaded into the data model. For example, that like this one that we've not unchecked, see what's going to happen. Go back to your home ribbon and click close and apply. So you can see now that the gas 5 kg is being loaded, and the new query. The two are being loaded, but this is not what we want. Just wait a minute. So everything had been properly loaded, and you're going to see it here now by the right-hand side here. But we still need to remove this 5 kg. We don't want it. What you're going to do when you are here in your data model and you want to go back to the Power Query, you come to this button here. You see transform data. This is where you're going to go. You go to your transform data. Clicking on that transform data means that you're going back to Power Query. So now we want to uncheck enable load. So fine. So we already have what we need. By the time we click and apply, only this gas price from 2016 to 2022 will be loaded. So now we can see that now. As I told you before, this is your visualization pane, but we still don't need it yet. We're going to be performing a little time intelligence calculation. But before you can do time intelligence, you need a well-structured dates table. If you go to your data table and you look at this, your date column here, you will realize that the date are just on the 1st of July, 1st of November, 1st of December, like that. It's not a proper date table. So we need to find a way to create our own date table. In your company, it is possible that you already have a date table. Then you don't need to go through the stress. You just load it in as a dimension, just like other dimensions. You get my point now? maybe I should just quickly explain the difference between dimension table and date table. I mean, dimension table and fact table. This is what we're still going to cover in future sessions. Dimension table is just where it's a way to improve performance of our data model and to avoid replication. If I have a transactional data set, fact tables are actually transactional. That is where you have your total sales, your average sales, the discount you provided, or whether there was tax or not, everything that has to do with that transaction. But it will not give you the full details about the manager in charge of that transaction, or the sales professionals that facilitated it, or the department where the transaction was coming from, or the nature of the item that was actually sold. So it's not give you that detail, but what will give you an idea is the keys. You have a key that connects between that transaction table to each of the dimension table that you are bringing in. For instance, there's a key between, there's a key on the fact table that is saying product ID. So when you see product ID, it's going to be connected to product ID in the product table. And the product table gives further breakdown of that particular item that was sold. The same thing with manager ID. The same thing with sales ID. The same thing with department ID. The same thing with also dates. In this instance, the date here in the transaction table will be connected to the dates in your date table. So that is just the difference between fact table and dimension table. Any question? Any question? Ladies and gentlemen, let us ask questions. I'm here to answer all your questions. Maybe you've been using Power BI and you just want to ask some questions, some things that you don't understand, especially regarding what we've spoken about so far. All right. If there's no question, we are going to create our own table, date table, using DAX. Okay? We're going to use DAX to create a table. All right. So when you come here, as I hover over it now, you're seeing now that it's saying, write a DAX expression that creates a new column in a selected table. Hello?
Someone is asking if dimension table and fact table can be linked together.
Of course, they must be linked together for them to work. I will show you where you check the relationship between dimension table and fact table. After creating this date table, you will see how that relationship is initiated. But in some instances, however, you can use some formula within DAX to leverage a table that doesn't have an existing relationship. So if I click on this now, so this is going to tell me that I should write my DAX expression. I'm just trying to, let me hide myself. So it's telling me that I need to write some DAX expression in order to create that table. And how do I create a date table? Let's just call this date table equals to. So there are different ways. You can use calendar auto. What this calendar auto will do for you is that it will scan through all the tables within your data model. It will check the starting dates and the ending dates and return those range of dates. Do you understand? That's what calendar auto will do for you. But in this situation, we're going to use just a calendar. This time around, you're going to tell Power BI what is the starting date and what is the ending date by yourself, instead of you allowing it to scan through automatically. So what is the starting date? We're going to say the starting date is 1st of January 2016, because that is where the data actually started from. comma, the end date. You can see IntelliSense. This thing you are seeing here is called IntelliSense. IntelliSense is available in most programming studio editor, for instance, your SQL Server Management Studio, or maybe it's even your maybe it's even your Python. For instance, if you are using Anaconda or whatever you're using to code in Python, you're going to have this IntelliSense that explain what that function is doing and how to execute it. You can see now that it's giving us additional story. Let me bring it back. It's saying that calendar returns a table with one column of all dates between start date and end date. So what is the start date now? We say it is 1st of January, 2016. And what is the end date? You have to put it in this kind of inverted commas like that, because it's recognizing it as text. Anything that is put in inverted comma is going to be recognized as text. So the end date is 31st of December, 2022. And that is all. We can generate our dates automatically. All right? Any question? Any question?
No.
Okay, somebody wrote me something. Let me check. Dimension table and fact table can be linked together. Yes. You will see it now. So from these dates now, we still cannot get a lot of information. For example, if you want to get the months, how does this help us? If you want to get the year, for instance, you want to put it in your visualization. Maybe you have a bar chart, and you want to put year 2016, 17, 18 on each column. This is not going to help us to achieve that. So what you're going to do is that you can actually extract your years from this automatically generated dates. So you're going to use another DAX function. This time around, we're already going into calculated column in Power BI. There are two things that are very important: calculated measures and calculated column. Calculated column is going to be shown here, but calculated measure is not going to be shown until you put it into visualization. And very soon you will see what I'm talking about. So if you want to create a new column that tells you which year it relates to, it will extract all this 2016, and when it gets 2017, it will extract the same thing. You can either come here, you come to this home ribbon. Okay, if you come to this table tools, you can click new measure. This is when you want to get a calculated measure. This is when you want to get a calculated column. This quick measure is another capability of AI within Power BI that can help you to get your measure very quickly. And you can also create new tables. So, but we want a new column. I click that like that. So, and I want to get my year. So you can name it as what? Your year. Year equals to, how do we get year? So there's a function here that is called year. And year function will ask you for a table value. What it's asking for, when you see something like this, it's simply saying that pass a table within that parenthesis. So what table are we going to pass now? We're going to pass that date table, date column. So to bring a table, you start with a single tick like this. It's going to show you that this is a date table. Even with this, it's okay. It will still return what we want. Look at it like this, it will return the years. Oh, okay, it's not returning it actually. So we're going to put in that date column. And if you want to bring that column here, you just open the square brackets and use your tab to bring it up and click OK. So now you can see now that we have our year. You have each of those years, and you can see the number of years that we have here, 2016, 17, 18, 19, up to 2022. So let's do the same thing for months. So instead of clicking on this new column here, you can just come to this table, right click, and you see new measure, new column, new quick, everything that you need to do. So we click on new column. So we want the months. Let's just say months. So there's also a month function, date table, date column. So we have the month, but it is returning the months in numbers. This is exactly not what we want. You can see now that we have from January month 1 to month 12. But we actually want it because can you put this one into analysis? Maybe you want to create a bar chart and you're having 1, 2, 3 like this. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't convey any meaningful information. But we want to convert this 1, 2, 3 into month name, like January, February, like that. So let's create another column. Are you getting the point? So we can call this month name. Okay. So how do we get month name? How do we do that? There's a function that is called dates. It says return the specified dates in date time formats. So since we don't need year, let's just use one. We'll remove that. What we need is month, right? Are you with me? I want you to respond so that I can be sure that you're with me. We need the months. Okay. So the same formula we used here, that's what we're going to pass into the months. We're going to say month function and then date table, date column. Okay. And then do we need the days? Not necessarily. Let's just use 1 to override that also. And we can close that brackets. It's going to give us the same thing. Okay, it's giving us this date now. But what we're not going to do is that we're going to format it. We're going to format this thing now into the month name. So you come here, you put your format. So he's saying, what is the value? So this is the value that we want to format. How do we want to format it? We want to format it into months. And we're going to put the month name 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 means that it's going to give you the short months, maybe JAN for January, FEB for February. But if you put 4, it's going to give you the full name. If you put 2 here, can somebody tell me what is going to return? Based on your Excel knowledge. Based on Excel knowledge, because I want to believe that almost all of us here are advanced Excel user.
To return JA.
It return JA. No, I don't think so. Let's check it out. It's going to return 02, 01. You can see that. So something that we advise to go and learn in Excel, go and learn cell formatting in Excel. Very important because a lot of your Excel skills is going to be brought into Power BI. And in fact, Power BI was designed by Microsoft to create a soft landing for Excel users. Microsoft knew that it has a huge user base for Microsoft Excel. And it had designed the programming language like this DAX programming language so that Excel user can easily transit from Excel to Power BI. So in Excel, even if you use this 3, it's going to give you 3 letter dates. And if you add one more, it's going to give you a full date. You can see, and when you get to February, you still see everything like that. But I think we are okay with just 3. Now we have our dates. All right. So you can see now that we've been able to create table. We're able to create a table even within data model. All right. So let's check if any relationship, if Power BI had been able to create relationship automatically. You come to this, your model, and you will see that now Power BI has not created any relationship automatically. It is now our responsibility to create relationship. So there are other ways of creating relationship. Let me just give you the very simple one. You can drag from your fact table to your dimension table. I mean, from your fact table to your dimension table, or from your dimension table to your fact table, because this gas price now is representing our what? Our dimension table. And what do you think is common between these two? Look at the first data. This is our fact table. We have state, item label, date, gas price. And we have our date table, date, year, month name. You know that there's something in common. Hello?
Yes.
Is there a column in common between those two tables?
Dates.
Is this dates? Even though it's not because it is labeled, it is named as dates. You could have named it anything.
Yes.
But since you have this date in common, for instance, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So this will automatically create a one-to-many relationship. So I can pick it from my fact table and then drag to my date dimension. Automatically, just click like this and drag it on it. So it's creating, let's see the relationship now. You can double click on this to see what relationship is. It's creating on this date here and on this date here. All right. Even though it appears as if it's on this month name, it's not actually on it. It's until you click on this thing or you hover on it that you will see where the relationship is created. You can see now that it's on both dates. Fine. So, but there's something that we don't need. This month, do we still need it for anything? Ladies and gentlemen, that one that I showed that is counting months in numbers. What do we want to use it for? So we can just hide that. This eyes is showing that you can hide this thing here. You can hide it. You can also hide an entire table if you would not need it. Maybe you just use it as a bridge table in order to achieve something else, and you don't necessarily need that table. You can also hide it from the data model. You can see now that there are different places of, you could have deleted it from query editor if you don't need it, and you can also hide it from here. So when we now go to the visualization pane, you will see that that date number is no longer there. So let's quickly create hierarchy. We want to create hierarchy so that we can be able to drill down. So the way you create hierarchy is when you come to these little ellipses here, you can see create hierarchy. And the purpose of this hierarchy is to drill down. For instance, you want to check your data, you want to be able to click on it. For those of us that are using what's it called? Pivot table. You know, when you have dates, you can click and see it by year, and then you want to see what is happening in February, just click another cross symbol like this. It will open January for you, and you can be able to like interact with your data that way. So create hierarchy. Now we want to bring your month name into the hierarchy. You click these ellipses beside it and add to year hierarchy. The same thing for the date. Click the ellipses, add to year hierarchy. So by the time you now open up this hierarchy now, you can see you have your year, you have your month name, and you have your date. You can bring this as a whole into a visualization. So let's stop there for now.
Can you just explain that again? I'm kind of confused about that. I didn't really get that.
Okay. I will still do it again because of time. I don't want people to get tired. You understand?
Okay. All right.
So there's another thing I'm bringing in where we create another hierarchy. So as of now, we've been able to transform our data in Power Query. We were able to like uncheck load data for those query that we don't want to bring into data model. And in our data model, we were also able to create a dates table and extract some important items from our date table using calculated columns, which leverages the power of data analysis expression language, DAX. And after that, we check our relationship. In this situation, Power BI did not create relationship automatically for us. We did that ourselves. But in some other situation, when you are loading into data model, go straight. The first thing you must do, come and check the relationship that have been created and correct any error that could have been made. So finally, we're able to create hierarchies. Now let's go back to our transform data. Because this time around now, for example, we want further information This thing will not give us too much information like this. We just have our date, and how are we going to check? Okay, for example, if we go to let's go to our data, and we have our list of states, no doubt. We have the states, we can check by states, but there's something that we don't have, which can even improve our analysis. If you don't want to look by state because it's too long, what if we want to look by region? We should have something like maybe northeast, northwest, north central, southwest, and southeast in order to assist our visualization and our analysis. For example, if you have a data for the whole world, you can decide to break it down by continent where it falls. Okay, you have a data that shows you each countries in the world. And you want to improve that analysis. You can break it down to the geographical area, maybe South Africa, West Africa, North Africa, East Europe, West Europe, North America, South America, and then also break it down by continents. Okay, Africa. So we see that every country that fall under Africa, you can be able to check them automatically. And what is the total sales from Africa, from Europe, from South America, North America, Oceania, like that. So now let's quickly do that. As I told you earlier, you go back to this, your transform data. Now we are back into query editor once again. What we want to do now is that we want to create our list of states and the region where. So you just come to this enter data. This is where you can create your own table inside what? Query editor. So what do we call this? We call this states, have you? So the different states are Abia, Lagos, etc. So I don't want to go through this process. I want to copy it from our existing data. I wasn't supposed to delete that, but it's fine. I'll go back there. I can copy this column, okay? And then click on transform data. Call this states. And then I can paste that one in. What do you want to call the name of this table? Let's call it region, because that is actually what we wanted to achieve. So you can then come here again, click on this plus. For instance, if you want to add additional row to it, you just click on this plus here to add more row. And here we had more column. So let's say, let's call this one what? Region. Oh, I wasn't supposed to. Okay. Let's see if I can delete this. So we have our state, that's 6 like that. Okay, that's 7 plus FCT. So just tell me, I'm not very good in geography. The region where this falls, Abia, I know this is southeast. Okay, Abuja, let's just call that one FCT.
North Central.
Let's just call it FCT. Adamawa, northeast, Abi.
Northeast.
Please help me.
Northeast.
Northeast. Akwa Ibom, south.
South.
Anambra.
North. Abia, southeast.
Southeast. Bauchi.
North Central.
Is it north central or northeast?
North Central.
Really?
Northwest.
Northwest. Please, let's validate all these things, because it will affect, if you do this really in your office,
South.
And you don't get
South,
it correct, it's going to affect your results. South. Somebody should please help us check that Bauchi again. Benue is north central.
Bauchi is northeast.
It's northeast. Bauchi is northeast.
Northeast. North central. Borno.
Northeast.
Cross River.
South.
Delta.
South.
If I make any mistake, it's going to affect whatever we are doing, because it will not recognize what I'm talking about, and it might return it as null. or empty cell. So we have Edo, South.
South.
Please let me check my spellings too.
South.
Ekiti,
West.
Southwest. Enugu, Southeast.
Southeast.
Gombe, where is it?
Gombe,
Northeast.
Northeast.
Imo,
South.
Southeast. Oh my God. Southeast. Jigawa, Northwest.
Northwest. Kano, Northwest. Katsina, Northwest.
Hebi,
Northwest.
I think it's also Northwest.
Northwest. Kogi, North Central. North Central.
You can see that we can also create table even in Power Query.
North Central.
Nasarawa is also North Central. Lagos
Southwest.
is
Southwest. Nasarawa, North Central.
Is it North Central?
Central.
Yes, true. Or Niger, the same thing.
North Central.
Ogun.
Southwest.
Southwest. We'll soon be done. Sorry.
Southwest. 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 North Central.
Is Kwara actually North Central?
It's Central. Kwara is Central.
Yeah, it's Central, yes.
I think it's Kwara.
Plateau Central.
It's not Southwest.
Rivers.
South.
Sokoto.
Northwest.
Northwest.
Taraba, Northeast. Is it not Central?
Taraba.
Please let me check. Jobe, Northeast. Zamfara. Where is Zamfara, please? Where is Zamfara?
Zamfara.
Let us check the map. We want to validate Zamfara and Taraba. I think Taraba is northeast.
Taraba is northeast.
Northeast, yes.
Yes.
Zamfara, northwest.
I know it should be 5-5, except that southeast.
It's 6.
It should be 6.
Yeah, I think even
6,
northwest is
south.
more than 6, maybe 7.
Except southeast, that is 5.
Okay, so we are home and dry. All right. So just click on your. Okay, but don't worry, don't trouble yourself even if it's not correct. This is just for training purpose.
Yes, it's northwest. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so just click on your OK. You click OK.
So sorry. I have a question.
All right.
Okay, for example, now let's say we have like so many rows of data, like so many rows, it will be very, very hard. It's because what we have is 36 states.
Yes,
that's why
yes.
kind of
you
easy
can
for
the
us
same
to,
way I copy that state. If you already have it prepared somewhere and it matches with the number of states the way you've ordered it, you can copy and paste. It's not the way that I copied and paste. You can even copy and paste it from Excel.
Yeah, no, what I was even going to ask is there a way, is it possible to write, in SQL, there's like a case statement where you can say, okay, if maybe the state is maybe Abia, maybe Adama, blah, 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 then bring out maybe not
No, if
bring
you're
out
talking about SQL, you don't really need this. SQL is that you just provide the column. You provide states and region, and you feed it with whatever you want to put there.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, in the case where we have like maybe millions of rows or maybe like so many, I don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but like, is there a way to, is it possible to like have like a case statement or like write a query where?
Yeah, of course you can.
In Power BI.
You can say, okay, case, then you pass the Abia, should always return you North Central. Abuja
Yeah,
return you this. This one
yeah,
should return
something
you
like
this.
that.
You
Exactly.
can, but it's going to be a very long one for
Long
36.
one. Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't really,
Yeah,
if you look at the cost benefit analysis, it doesn't make sense.
okay.
In fact, what we've done, actually, I did it deliberately. I should have written it in Excel and just come and paste it. But I wanted to show you that we can do something like this.
Enter the data. Okay.
So now you will see that this would have created an automatic connection. Let's load into data model, close and apply. So the first place I said we should be checking is what? Our relationship. It doesn't create a relationship. What happened? Anyway, it's not a problem. So I hope you understand what is called the star schema and the snowflakes schema. So let's just do that little star schema here. Yeah. The fact table should be in the middle. We can make it bigger. So this is it. And if you want to see everything at once, in case you have several dimensions, just click here to show you everything all at once. So you can then bring this your state into our state label here. You can see that we have created a one-to-many relationship. And here also we created a one-to-many relationship. What this star is telling us that we have the many parts in our fact table, and the one part is in our dimension. For instance, if you look at that fact table, you will see that we have Abia, like that many times. And here we just have Abia once. The same thing here. Now we've been able to do that. Let's just do one or two calculations. Let's create a table first. So we are now in the output session. All right. Let me see the number of people that are still with us. Some of them they've gone. They are tired. Life is not always easy. It's not always easy. So I still have a few. All right.
Hi, Shagun.
Hello.
So I want to ask a quick question.
Yeah, talk to me, please.
Yeah, please. Apologies for my low volume. I'm actually not feeling too well, so my voice is quite low.
Okay.
I wanted to find out. You mentioned something when we started that if you have an IT team who can actually help you clean up the data,
yes,
they'll just give you the data cleaned up, and then you can just do your analysis on it.
Yes.
So if they clean up the data, would they give it to me like at this point where we are right now?
Yes, exactly. If the data is clean and you have also verified and you realize that you don't need any transformation on that data, you don't need to.
Okay, so I want to assume that if I tell them what exactly I need the data for, and it's the exact data I need, they should be able to get it to me at this point where we are right now.
In fact, you tell them your business need,
okay,
and then they generate the data for that. Sometimes you may not be too okay with what they've done, but they've already given you what you need. You may want to do further transformation. For instance, like maybe now that we have those dates in numbers, you may want to convert it to name. What other things that you might want to do? For example, now maybe what they sent to you does not contain this list of region. It's only states. You may want to transform it more in the transformative end of Power BI. A lot of things, but if you're sure they've done everything, they've cleaned the data, it has gone through iterative processes, and it's fine. You don't need Power Query.
Okay. The reason why I was asking is because there's a team that actually does most of this cleanup. So I'm assuming if that's their job, then it means I would most likely not really need to do a lot of Power Query most of the time. So
yeah, if their job, you must sit down with them and ensure that they've done exactly what you want.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Because they are not spirits. They cannot read your heart. You only tell them and you further iterate. Okay, add this, remove this, add this, remove this. I don't like this. Until they get you a clean data set. Which you can, in fact, even instead of loading it into a data model, There's another thing that we'll talk about later on, which is live and direct connection. For example, data model use in-memory. It uses your computer memory, actually, and it has impact on performance. But when you do a live connection to a database that you can trust, you just, all you need, it will not show you this data pane again. You not see this again. All that will be left, you only see this reports page and your model page, but you will not see this data page again. Or you will see data page if you have some other ones that are not live connection. But if all your data are live connected to a data model, whether on-prem server or cloud server, you're not going to see this again. So you just start visualizing directly from there. And any update that is made to the database is going to sync here. So you can have live updates of whatever is happening. All right, so let's create just a simple matrix. Let's make it a bit bigger than this. So we already created our dates here, date hierarchy. Or we can even call this, let's rename this as what? No. Let's call this dates hierarchy. I don't know if my spelling is correct. Forgive me if it is not. So we have, let's bring this into the rows. Now you can see we have 2016, 17, 18, and we have something that we can uncheck and open it up more. Fine. So, but we want to check this gas price. Okay, let's go back to this table and see what I'm talking about. This is a gas price, but it doesn't really make any sense to find the total. What does that want to do for us? I think it's better to get the average on a monthly basis than the total on a monthly basis. All right, so let's try to get the average gas price. We can also get the total if we so desire. But to do that, we just create new measure this time around. You know, we've been creating tables, but now we want to create a measure. I'll come here. I like to create measure in the report page so that you can be seeing it. You remember that I told you that measure cannot be seen. It's until you put it into visualization that you will see what you've done. So let's create new measure. And what should we call this measure? Let's call it average gas price. Okay. So it's just very simple. You have your average function here. Where do you want to average data table? Not date table. We have gas 2020, that is the table. So to bring back the dates, just click on your square brackets. Then you can say gas price. You close that brackets and you have your average. Okay. So when you see this thing like calculator or something, this is showing that it is a measure. But when you come to the table where we created calculator table, this is like showing like this is not really a calculator, but this is a symbol for calculated column. And this is a symbol for calculated measure. But very quickly, let us format that measure that we just created. Let's format it as our own Naira. We have different currencies here. You can use English, United States, Euro, pounds, etc. But let's go to Naira. Where is it? So let's just use the first one we can find it. There will be Naira, Yoruba, Igbo, etc. Let's just use that. So when you uncheck this, it will take you to the visualization. So you can see now that we have everything broken down. For example, let me show you something. We go back into the model and we remove, let's remove this relationship, delete. Let's remove that relationship. And you go back to your visualization. What do you see here, ladies and gentlemen? What do you see here? You can see that it had removed the row level filtering. It is not filtering it down row by row. It's returning the same thing. Let me just show you what is returning. If I put my card, no, not card. Is it card that I should use? Okay. If I bring my card and then I put this average gas price on it. So you can see that this is giving me the same 2,319 or something naira. So it's showing that this is not being filtered by dates because we have removed the relationship. What the two tables are using to communicate with each other, we have removed it, so they are working independently. So it's not, that row level filtering is not happening here. Okay, so for us to restore that, we go to our data page and we restore the connection. By the time we go back, you can see that it is now filtering it down by dates. We can see what we have in 2016, 2017, like that, instead of just the average price for each of the years. So let's just make this thing look a little bit beautiful. Let's make it bigger. So to make it bigger, to do anything on this particular visual, you have to click on it, to highlight it. Come to this, your format, your visual. This thing you're seeing here is just show you some other thing, visualize. This is the visualization pane. This is the filter pane. This is the field pane. So I'm coming to this format visual. Then I will just type in size here. Or I can just come to this grid. If I come to grid, we're still going to do a lot of formatting, but I really advise that we break this session into two. Even though it's a free session, no problem. I can still do one more session whereby let's just wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or thereabout, and I come back and help us to format our presentation. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So we'll not do too much of, I'll just do the other DAX calculation today. I will come back maybe in 1 hour or in 30 minutes, 1 hour. We'll just make the dashboard look beautiful, and then that will be all. So we come to size. Okay, I already opened grid. So this is filter level formatting. You can see visual. And then when you come to general, it's just about the entire page. It's not specific to that particular chart. You know, this is just a chart. This is a kind of this is a table. We can still format a line chart. You can format a column chart like that. But this we apply to everything. This general. But we want to limit it to this visual for now. So you come to grid and you scroll down. Oh, okay. Let me just say size. Size, global fonts. Let's increase that to 13 for now. We'll still do a lot later. We still resize everything. All these column labels, everything will still look beautiful. Okay, so we've seen the average gas price. Let's see, since we have 2016, 17. Okay, if I open this, you can see for each of the months. All right, but something is happening here that is starting with April, August, December. Why is it not starting with January? There's something else that we must do. So if we come here, have I not forgotten? If you come to this modeling view, I think I have actually forgotten that. Insert smart. Don't worry, before we finish, I'll remember and we'll work on it. There's a way we're going to change it to pick it by the month number. All right, fine. So let's quickly, I want to get something here so that in 2016, I want to see the same period last year. What was the previous gas price? So when we come to 2017 here, January, February, everything, we should be seeing the gas price for 2016, just next to just next to the one for 2017. Do you understand what I'm saying now? And when we open this, for example, this April, when we open it up, for each of the days, for day 2, I want to see the price for day 1. For day 3, I want to see the price for day 2. You understand what I'm trying to achieve now? So don't worry, you will get it. So I will click on create a new measure. All right. So we call it prowl period. So how do we do this? We're going to leverage a function here that is called calculate. Calculate is one of the most powerful functions in Power BI DAX. And what it does, it's used to change filter contexts. For example, as I told you earlier that there's a row context that is going on, if I want to override that row context, like I don't want my results to be broken down by month or by year or by region or by states, I can actually use calculate function to override it. How many of you were in that business intelligence training? You need to go back. It's free on Excel. On YouTube. Go and check it. I explained how to use the calculate function to override filter context, so that in front of all these dates like this, I will have the average for everything. Average for everything without it being broken down using filter. So right now, row context is taking place. Row context is filtering everything down by each month or by each year. So that is what is called row context. So now we want to use the calculate function. This time around, calculate does different things. Number one, it is used for overriding filter context or row context. Another thing you use it for is context transition. But what we want to use it for, another thing is for context manipulation. So look at what we're going to do now. So we want to get a prior period, just say calculate. See what it's saying? Evaluate an expression in a context modified by filter. All right, what is the expression? The first thing calculate asks for you is an expression. The expression is the average gas price. When you hear expression, think of a measure. Anywhere you see Power BI asking you for an expression, you have to think about a measure that you're going to pass into it. So how do we want to filter down this average gas price? Let's go to the next line. Just press your enter and then, press your shift and click on enter. So you can go to the next line that way. So it's asking us for how do we want to filter it? We have filter. What is the table that we want to filter? Is the date table and the dates column. Okay, it's asking for just the table. All right. So now the next thing we're going to do, just a moment. So we have a filter. Filter is asking us for a table. I want to filter, okay, is it date table? Filter expression. There's a function that is called same period last year. Or no, we are not using same period last year. Let's use parallel period. Parallel period. Oh, I want to see the equivalent of this parallel period in Excel. How many of us use the end of month function in Excel? EOM. So when you use the end of month function, you want to return the end of each of those months. You can either go back. For instance, let's say we are in February 2023. And I want to check the end of month for December 2022. So I'll just say end of months, put all the parameter, then -3 to go back to December. So this does similar thing. Or if you want to go to end of month, what will be the end of month by May? You just add +3. But in this case, we say our date table, date column. What is the interval? The interval is what? Is month. Okay. Okay, now instead of this, let me just go to that month function. The interval is months. Number of interval. Okay, so this one is asking for number of interval. So I want to go back by 12 months. So what is the interval? Months. All right. So just close your parallel period, close your filter, and close your calculate. Let's see if we'll get it. So let's just quickly format that. Come to your home ribbon or modeling. Okay, I need to click on this. So if I put this here, let's see what it is. Oh, no. Let me just. And then. It is returning an error. So in this case, we need to check what we've done. So if we remove this filter and then click OK. Yeah, it's still the same thing. So let me just quickly check that my formula to be sure that I'm correct. All right. I don't know how this absolute managed to enter. So what is going on? What is going on here? Calculates the gas price, parallel period, dates, minus. Okay, we have an additional parenthesis. All right, we are there. So let me make this table a bit bigger so that we can understand what I have done here. Okay, so let me increase the font so that it will be very, very big for everybody to see. Size. Let me increase it to 16, like that. Now look at this. So let's go to 2022. Okay, or just let me rearrange it. So this is starting from 2017, right? So if I open up this 2017, you can see that this 2016 is coming here to 2017 as the parallel period or the same period last year. You can see 1,932 naira. And that was the closing price, closing average price as of 2016, okay? Now going to 2018, this is 2,334 naira. and is the same thing as at the closing of 2017. Do you get it now? Now, if I open this, my 2017, let's now check it on a monthly basis. Let's check it on a monthly basis. Okay, this is January. Let's check January in 2016. 2016 January was 1,841. Okay, is that okay? It's recording now, right? Hello?
This is recording.
It's recording.
Okay, fine. So we go back to the data model and click on this column like this. So when you click on this column, you can see column tools. So automatically you see sort by column. So here we want to sort by column month. This is where we have the month number, remember. So if we click this, and we go back here, it should have corrected automatically. Can you see now that we have January, February, March, April, up to December? So you can then easily tally the two together. January 2016, 1,841, 1,841. Let's go to December, and with December 2017, you can see 2002 like that. So you can check that parallel period. But when this starts, I will show you a lot of things like this using DAX. There are different ways you can check on last year. There's a last year function. There's a next year function, next day function. There's the same period last year function. All those kind of things are what we use in our time intelligence in DAX. What we've just successfully done here simply is time intelligence. All right, any question? Any question? Somebody should ask me a question. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is that let's try to get the year over year. This is what we do normally in practice. Okay, what is our previous year sales? Or what is our previous year revenue? What is the current year? What is the movement? What is the percentage movement? Shikeno. Just as if we are playing game. So the next DAX function that we're going to do, so let's just quickly format this. Let's format this as what's Naira. That's our prior period. So let's create another measure. You can actually click here, new measure. So new measure here. And let's say movement or year over year average price, average LPG gas price now. So how do we do that year over year? We already have our current year and we have our prior year. Automatically we can get the difference. So we just say by clicking on these square brackets to bring those measures. So average gas price minus that's prior period price. You can rename it as prior period price or any other that is convenient for you. Then we click OK. Let's always learn to format on the fly immediately so that you don't need to come back. So you format it as Naira, and then you bring it into your visualization. So you can see now that we are having the difference. Okay. So for the first year, since we don't have same period 2015. So this place will be blank, and you can see now that it's showing that difference as still the same number. But when you come to 2017, difference between our gas price in January 2017 and January 2016 is giving us that the difference is 725. That means that the gas price had increased by 725 Naira. By February, it has increased by 848 against same period last year. The same thing like that. And you can even open it up further so that you get it by each of the days. By each of the days. Hello, are you with me? So, for instance, you are considering February 2017. This one, hello? Please, can you just stop all this background noise? Please. So when we drill down to the day level, in 1st of February 2017, the price was 1,860. In 2nd, it was 1,000. It was still the same thing. But you can see now that this one is referencing that 1st of January price. Just like that, Let me see where we have any material difference. In this month, it was just the same thing all through. But this is where you drill down and see the difference on a per day basis. So let me not waste our time further. Let's just do the few more calculations and we call it a day. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to get the percentage. By what percentage is it different? We call it percentage change. Equals to, how do we get the percentage? Since we already have the last year, we have the current year. It's just simple division. So here we use the divide function. What is the numerator? Can somebody tell me what will be in the numerator? What is the numerator?
Current year.
Current year.
No, it will be prior year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Comma. And we have a current year. Please, can you help us stop that noise? I beg you. So, alternatively, we could have done it this way. Prior divided by current. My people, this will give us the same results, and we just format it as what? As percentage. But what is the limitation of this method? Some of us that have been doing Excel or doing some things with data, can you tell me what is the limitation with this thing that we've done? I will start calling names now. Adeolu. Olawumi, Oladele, Oluyemi Sheun, Fumi, Agbola. What is the limitation with just using the operator to divide between two expressions like this? Any idea, please?
The year where we don't have base year, but where we don't have PRO year, it will make it difficult to have the percentage.
Exactly. It's going to create something that is called infinity problem. It is called infinity problem. That is what it's going to create. It does, this error that is a divide by zero error. In the year where we have average gas price, that is the current year, to be zero, it's going to return error, or it's going to return infinity. That's what this thing is going to write. It's going to write for you infinity. But Power BI are giving us something to handle that divide by zero automatically. So we just use our divide function. Please help us stop the noise. Divide. So our divide function in Power BI, we undo that divide by zero error automatically. So it's already formatted as percentage, and we also bring it into this matrix. Now you can see, if I just close, I can drill up like this. So you can see everything in percentage formats. So for 2017, where we started having numbers, you can see the difference year over year average price. You get, and also the percentage change. And this percentage is representing the difference between same period last year and the current year. All right, so we've done a lot of the hard work. We've done a lot, and in your own data, maybe you have a sales data in your organization. You can use the sum. So instead of this average that I'm doing, you can just use the sum. When you can have the sum for each of the month. I don't really see the business need for me to do sum of the total price. That is not my cup of tea for now. You get it? But you can actually do it. When you come here, you click on your new measure and you say, it's not important for the analysis I want to do. That is why. You can say sum of gas prices, and just use your sum function, and you can scroll down to this table and this column. Click here, OK. Then you format immediately. And you can throw that one in. Let's instead of throwing it directly into the visual, you can also do this. Let's bring it as a first item here. You can see you can use this intelligence mark to know where exactly you're going to drop it. So you drop it like that. It's going to appear before every other thing. So you can see we have our sum of gas price, average gas price, prior period average price. Let's rename that as prior period average price. So we are almost done. You can even rename from here. If that name, if you don't like that name, you can just come on that, come to this point and double click. Prior period. Maybe by one reason or the other, you want to leave that like that, but you can just change it here. Prior period average price. It won't affect what you have here as prior period. All right. But this is what you will see in your visualization. Whether you are putting it in a column chart or in whatever chart, this is what you will see. So, ladies and gentlemen, we still have a lot to do. All right. Right now, I just want to see our faces once again. And I want to hear from us if this thing has been very helpful for you or not. Talk to me, please.
Okay, so for myself, this is Lolade speaking. I want to say, like, in fact, I don't even know where to start from, because, like, I came into Power BI, like, I literally just started learning Power BI. I wouldn't even say I'd even started. Like, I just, because I was more familiar with Tableau. It's not as if I'm very proficient in Tableau as well, but at least I'm a bit better. Like, I have no experience in what's it called, in Power BI. And to be honest, I feel like this class was very, very, very helpful, because I also have like some other tutorials, watch videos. Like, I learn on my own. I'm a self-starter. So, but I just feel like this alone, like, if I even want to, like, having this class alone has really, really, like, helped, has made it easy for me to, yes, I really like, I want to commend you that you did a very good job in explaining some of the concerns. I also want to ask if this class would be on YouTube, because there were some parts that I missed, like I was doing. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll put all my mistakes and everything there too, so that they're all human beings.
Yeah, I feel like that helps too with learning.
Who else wants to say something?
Yeah, hi, Shagun.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, this is Fumi.
Fumi, what's up?
Yeah, hello everyone. Sorry, so it don't look like I'm talking to Shagun alone. Actually, the class. So based on what I've heard so far, learned so far, the class actually is actually very useful. Unfortunately, I have not been feeling fine over this weekend, so my ability to concentrate is on a very low. But at least the fact that I know the class is going to come up on YouTube, I'll probably go through it later on and try and get a better understanding of things. But
All right.
even as I'm a bit down, at least I know what I've been able to pick, because usually when it comes to using Power BI, I like I said, pass it on to a team, and I just ask them to give me the information I need at the end of the day, and then use that to do my own analysis. I just felt like it would be a lot useful if I know exactly what goes on in the background. And then too, sometimes when you ask them for information, they might give you to some certain point and you have to wait for them to come back to like continue the work again. So I felt it would be a lot easier if at least I had an idea of what. So like how you said, if they can clean up the data for me, I can now go back into it and pick out what I want, which actually made a lot of sense. Explanation wise, it sounds like you did a good job. I can't really say more than that, because like I said, my concentration level is at a very sorry, is at a very low point today because I'm a bit down. But it's